Hey guys, it's Jennifer Mackey of Project Yes Life, and welcome to Mad Mondays. So we've got a different setup. I'm sorry I'm a couple minutes late. We're going to be doing this at 12 o'clock on Eastern Standard, 12 o'clock on Mountain Time, and we're going to be doing it at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, but I'm kind of testing out a new technology and the way of doing it. So I'm doing it on both on the Project Yes Life site and also on my personal page so that we can have these connections. And because I know on the personal page, there's lots of personal friends that are coming in and wanting to connect. And then on the Project Yes Life page, there's other beautiful souls that want to connect. So first of all, happy Canadian Thanksgiving. So for those of you that are joining me from the US, I hope you can just experience full gratitude no matter where you are. So I'm really excited. I'm trying to see who's on there. Hey, thanks for joining us. So I want to talk to you about gratitude. And this weekend, Canadian Thanksgiving, and then the American one coming up in November, it's all about gratitude. It's about feeling thankful. But our theme for today with Mad Mondays is about this whole concept of the hero's journey. And so when I was thinking about gratitude and what this means to us, we can oftentimes think about the fact that we're grateful for the things that are working well in our lives, that we're grateful for family, we're grateful for, our health. If we're fortunate enough to have good and vibrant health, we're fortunate for a roof over our heads and food in our mouths and beautiful connection with family over the Canadian Thanksgiving and over suppers and dinners and other opportunities to journey together. But what we don't often think about is we don't think about the fact that we can be grateful for the challenges, for the most challenging times of our lives when things haven't been going well. And it's hard in the moments when we're facing challenge, much like those that are in Vegas that have just gone through what they have gone through, for us to ever see in those moments that there might be purpose or possibility in those challenges. But when, in Project Yes Life with the Phone Booth Project and the heroism endeavors that we take on, all the study and research about what is it to be a hero, not just, with superpowers leaping tall buildings, but what does it mean to be heroic in our own lives? That each one of us is madly passionate about how we live this life and how we want to show up for ourselves, for our families, for our communities, and for the world. What does this hero's journey mean? And oftentimes that hero's journey, typically through the centuries when we study heroism, is about moving through a catalyst, through the fire, to come out on the other side. So in the midst of challenge, we've all had them. They are all relative to what our experience of life is and what we've had happen in our lives. But we've all faced challenges to a greater or lesser degree. And so this concept of walking through the fire is about a catalyst for change, for transformation. And it's important that we give thanks for that as well too. Because I know in my own life, the challenges that I've faced through the years, when everything's going well, that's a beautiful thing. But when we're going through challenges, that's what really shapes us. It's what pushes us to grow, to want to be more. And this last week, I launched the 10-month program with High Banks, which is it's a shelter for teen moms, and it's where they're taking their lives to a new level, and they're determining, it's actually the tagline for High Banks of Calgary is "Hope Lives Here," which I really love. And so when we were building the program for this heroism, it's called Hero Training. And in this particular instance, we capitalized the HER for her, because this is about these teen moms. But I was launching this and we were talking about the challenges and the fires that we've walked through to be able to come out on the other side. And it's important that at any time when we're giving thanks for our lives, but we're giving thanks for that as well too, because that's what truly shapes us. And so with sitting around with these young girls that are, they're at a beautiful time in their lives because they're new moms or fairly new moms, but it's also an incredibly challenging time for them because they're in high school, they're trying to get through, they're trying to find a way to not only better themselves, but to be an inspiration and empowerment for their children. And so they have to reflect on what they've been through so that they can see the purpose and potential within that to come out on the other side. So, in this session today or this week or whenever you're tapping this video, I invite you to reflect on the defining moments in your life, the fires that you've walked through that have been a catalyst for change. I know for myself, part of it was growing up with a mom who had mental health issues. She was a beautiful creative artist, but definitely challenged in her own right of moving through how she understood the world and how she could contribute and, be a good mom, but also be an artist. And she struggled constantly with that. And growing up, that was a challenge because I loved her deeply, as we all do our moms. But it's very important to see her as a human being. And so I moved through those challenges. I moved to different countries. I lived in various places. Sometimes I got jobs. Sometimes I lost jobs. There have been times when I was, struggling within myself about who I was and what I wanted to become. And between the age of 17 and 26, 6 of my friends passed away, and I needed to move through what I thought life was all about, what I thought death was all about, and where I was going next, and what the purpose of my existence here was. We've all had those fires, and they've been a catalyst for us to be able to move through and to redefine who we are. And then the other element I want to talk to you just briefly about today is about capabilities. So this idea of suiting up is a beautiful metaphor. It's a wonderful metaphor for taking responsibility for what we bring to the world and how we can deliver that in a purposeful, passionate, mad, passionate way. And so capabilities, in our definition of them, is those are the capabilities, things that you did when you were a child, that you were as a child, that it was just a part of you. And oftentimes when I say to the people when I'm doing workshops with them, is I'll say, think of something that, greatest strength, greatest weakness, something that, maybe you didn't realize when you were young that was actually of any purpose. In fact, it's probably something that irked and irritated people as you were growing up. And so for me, maybe you guess it, those of you that know me, it was about communication. So when I was in grade 6, I went home every single day with lines. I will not talk in class. I will not talk in class. I will not talk in class. Those of you of that generation, you will remember what lines were all about. I don't know that it helped me to grow to another level within myself. I homeschool our kids and they don't receive lines. We have conversations and we talk about how we can evolve to another level. But in those days, it was like writing lines would somehow kind of bring attention to the issue that you were facing. I think we know better now. But those lines, they made me feel badly about the fact that I was a communicator. And no one really sat down with me and said, Jen, you're a wonderful communicator, but there's another element to that side of communication, and that is to be a great listener. And so over the course of my life, I learned to be a good listener and to be able to attend to the needs of an audience, to be able to tailor a message that would speak to their hearts, to be able to get myself out of the way and channel myself in a different way, to be able to really resonate or inspire and empower or heal or help. And so these capabilities that are within you, you have to see that sometimes it can appear as though it's a greatest weakness, but it's not. It's actually meant to serve you on the other side. And so I invite you to think about what your capabilities are. We have a handout. We're actually going to be launching next week. I'll be sharing with you. We're going to be doing 2 free calls that are called Mad Mastermind calls. And we're doing one, it's the last Thursday of the month in October and the last Thursday of the month in November. And you'll be invited to join those free Mad Mastermind calls. And we're going to be talking more in depth about this, and you'll get handouts, and there'll be a 45-minute talk, 15 minutes for just people chatting and giving me questions, and you'll be getting some material to just take it out for a spin and see if this Mad Mastermind group might be for you long term. But we're going to be talking about these capabilities and giving you an opportunity. But if you want to just do the work on your own, you're going to show up in life the way you need to show up. I trust that. No one is the guru of you. Nobody knows you better than you know you. And so if you want to go ahead and do that inner work, I invite you to write down what it is your capabilities are. What is it that you bring to the table? What is it that you are grateful for from the past, your fire? What did you have to walk through? What did you have to become? How did you transform yourself in that process? And celebrate you. Have a sense of gratitude for the fact that you made it through that challenge. that you were able, there are always two paths to take. As we were talking in our last Mad Mondays call, we talked about the path. That one path, you can become caught up in fear and anguish and anxiety when you're facing a challenge, or the other side is that you can don that cape, you can see that there is hope, you can see that there is a way through, and you can celebrate the fact that you have gotten through that fire, that you've come out on the other side and you've been shaped and formed by it. And then to be able to take a look at your capabilities and say, hey, what do I innately bring to the table? What can I deliver to people? Because then the next element we're going to talk about next Mad Monday is we're going to talk about your superpowers. Because this is just a fun way of reflecting on our lives, of seeing our lives with meaning and purpose. And when we look at the struggles that our world is facing now, if we all tended our own garden, if we all became peace and love and light within ourselves, within our families, the world would be a very different place to live in. So we can't change everything in the world, but we can start here. We can start with ourselves. We can see our lives in more enlightening ways. We can celebrate our yes moments, our challenges, our fire. We can feel grateful for what we've come through, and we can feel infinitely grateful for the fact that we can take the gifts that we've been given and transform them into opportunities to serve the world better. So I'm wishing you an extraordinary game-changing day in your extraordinary game-changing life. You can check out the link that I've left in the Facebook Live sessions. We are actually giving away, that's called our Trifecta Extraordinary Game Changer Pack. It's a copy of our Mad Heroes Manifesto book, if that speaks to you. There's a video on values and action alignment, and then there is also a handout for, it's called your Values Action Sheet, for you to take a look at what your priorities are now in your life and how you can align that with what you're doing in the world each and every day, so that you can live an extraordinary game-changing day and life. So I'm wishing you that. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.